On Tuesday, February 28th, 1984, Grammy night, the scene at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles was one of pure pandemonium. Giant clay lights cut dramatic white patterns in the dark sky above. Fans in the roped off areas were ready to scream and call out the names of anyone they might recognize. When 25-year-old Michael Jackson arrived for his coronation as king of pop music world, he wore a spangled uniform with epaulets and the rhinestone glove in his right hand. With him was Brooke Shields. Actually, Michael didn't want to go to the awards show with Brooke. Before the ceremony, she came by the Encina house unexpectedly to ask him if he would consider taking her to the show. Although they had been friends for 2 years, and it's unclear whether Brooke, 18 years old at this time, actually felt attracted to Michael or whether she knew that going with them to the Grammys would generate enormous publicity for her. She had already accompanied him to the American Music Awards in January when Michael swept the night, winning 8 trophies, and to the Guinness Records in February. Her picture with Michael's had been in every newspaper across the country. Brooke Shields was instantly recognizable back in 1984, but not really a major star. Her career had not been critically acclaimed. Her later films usually flopped. Her famous jeans commercials were no longer airing, and a movie called Sahara had temporarily been shelved. Smart and well spoken, she was attending Princeton University in New Jersey at the time. Brooke and Michael enjoyed others' company and related to one another in that both understood the pressure of being a child star with demanding parents. Brooke's mother manager, Terry, was delighted by her daughter's association with Michael. Latoya and Jen were in the kitchen when Michael rushed in to tell of Brooke's request. I don't want to take her, he said, according to Latoya's memory. I really, really don't. Well, then tell her, Michael, Latoya said. Tell her no if you don't want to take her. But I can't. Why not? Janet asked. Because I don't want to hurt her feelings, Michael explained, visibly cringing. He then went back into the living room. A few moments later, he rejoined his sisters, wearing a sheepish grin. Well, Latoya asked. I'm taking her, Michael said, sounding defeated. How ironic that the pop star, who had not been intimidated by record business honchos Barry Gordy and Yankovic, had been hectored by Brooke Shields into doing what he did not want to do. Months later, Michael and his employee Steve Howell were reviewing photographs from the award show. One was of him with Brooke Shields. What's she like? Howell asked. Oh, she's okay, Michael said non-intentionally. But I only took her to help her out. He added, there was no romance. All of this was strictly for her for the sake of publicity. Indeed, when Michael and Brooke arrived in a white Rolls Royce just moments before the ceremony began, there was such hysteria from the fans, one might even thought they were visiting royals. Poor Tim O'Neill was at the entrance door with 4 friends, watching the madness. Michael, Brooke, and a coterie of security guards rushed right by her. Michael, hey Michael, Tim shouted. Too late, he was gone. She turned to her friends. I'll introduce you to him later, I promise. Michael, wearing heavy pancake makeup and loads of eyeliner, sat in the theater's front row with Brooke and Emmanuel Lewis, who had met them there. Brooke seemed uncomfortable about having to share her date with a 12-year-old. Earlier, when photographers descended upon them, Michael held Emmanuel with one arm and held Brooke with his free hand. It was as if he was trying to remind Brooke and maybe the public that the presence of a child in their date meant they really wasn't serious about her. Let's get out of here. Brooke was. heard saying to Michael, "People are making fun of us." During the ceremony, cheers rose from fans on the balcony and from industry colleagues who filled the orchestra seats every time Michael's face flashed on the studio monitors or his name was even mentioned. When the two Pepsi commercials premiered, the audience reacted with a tidal wave of applause and whistles. It was obvious that he was the man of the moment, and before he had even won a single award, Comedian Joan Rivers noted an explanation of how the votes were tabulated. The reason we're breaking the rules is so that all losers will know who they lost to, Michael Jackson. That night, Michael made Grammy history when he won 8 awards out of a possible 10 wins on 12 nominations. 3 of his nominations were in one category. Not since the brilliant veteran of Motown Stevie Wonder in the mid-70s, he won 5 Grammys in 1973 and 1974. Had the public, press, and industry, three factions that seldom eye to eye on anything, agreed so wholeheartedly on an entertainer's importance to our pop culture. In a sense, the unanimous recognition of Michael Jackson at the Shrine Auditorium meant that fans, critics, and writers had agreed on a new pop music king. Accepting the Album of the Year award for Thriller, which by this time had sold 27 million records, was the biggest selling album in history and still #1 in the Billboard charts. Another reason Shawn Michaels said, "This is a great honor. I'm very happy." When he later picked up the seventh and record-breaking Grammy, he took off his dark glasses and a victory salute. For the girls on the balcony, Katharine Hepburn, my dear friend, had scolded Michael for wearing the shades at the American Music Awards and told him he was cheating his fans by not allowing them to see his eyes. Michael accepted one award with the comment, "I have something very important to say, really," and proceeded to pay touching tribute to legendary rhythm and blues star Jackie Wilson, who had recently died. Jackie was one of Michael's show business idols after suffering a heart attack on stage in New Jersey in 1975. Jackie lay in a helpless, practically vegetative condition in a nursing home. All of the Jackson children went to visit him one day in 1977. His primary caretaker was Joyce McCrae, who would go on to work for Joseph Jackson Productions. She was Janice Bragg's nemesis in the workplace. Jackie couldn't speak. He could only blink once for no and twice for yes. All of the Jackson siblings were gathered around his bedside trying not to cry as Joyce introduced them one by one. When she got to Michael, Jackie smiled and blinked twice. McCrae recalled, there was a happiness on his face that was just so precious, so deep, and so moving. He was so glad they were there. It was a special moment. Michael also won Record of the Year, Beat It, and Best Vocalist in 3 areas: Pop Beat It, Rock Thriller, and Rhythm and Blues Billie Jean. He also won Best Children's Album E.T., Best Rhythm and Blues Song Billie Jean, and Best Record Producer, an award he shared with Quincy Jones. Jackson's two losses were to The Police, who copped 3 Grammys on all for the Ceremony album and the single Every Breath You Take. All told, his 8 wins top Paul Simon's previous record of 7 in a year, earned in a 1970s sweep for Bridge Under Troubled Water. In one acceptance, he called CBS head Walter Yankovic to the stage with him. Later, he invited Latoya, Janet, and Raby to join him. Backstage after the awards, Michael didn't have much to say to the press. It had already been made clear to the media that he would not be available for interviews. He would allow photos only. The assembled media, having been deprived of the opportunity to ask Michael questions about his winnings, had no choice but to ask all the winners how four phenomenal in my lifetime: Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, The Beatles, and Michael Jackson. Quincy Jones noted. What's your favorite song? Someone said to Michael as he walked away. My favorite things by Julie Andrews. Michael responded. You're kidding, right? The reporter asked. No, Michael started singing the song. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. But he skipped down the hall, accompanied by four security men, as he left the auditorium with Brooke and Emmanuel. 50 people were elbowed out of his way by his guards, including Tennille Neal and her four friends. I'll introduce you to him later, she promised them again as Michael's Rolls Royce sped away from the auditorium. He rolled down the window and leaned out, both arms raised in triumph, clenching and waving a Grammy in one hand. All right, he yelled out. All right. Michael Jackson had become one of the most sought after celebrities in Hollywood, always invited to a multitude of A-list parties. Often he needed an escort and uncomfortable in his new role as a social butterfly. He sought someone safe and older. Lisa Minnelli was one of his favorites, partly because Michael had always been fascinated by the mystique of her mother, Judy Garland, but also because Lisa had grown up in Hollywood, knew her way around, and was able to keep Michael comfortable and relaxed. Besides, in 1984, it was Liza, not Michael, who received a coveted invitation on the April 10th party hosted by famed literally agent Irene Swifty Luzzer, held every year right after the Academy Awards. The event had been so prestigious that even big name stars considered it an honor to be invited. Celebrities often instructed their publicists to hound Swifty for months in advance of her invitation. In 1984, the party was held at the Botro in Beverly Hills. Guests included Orson Welles, Cary Grant, Jacqueline Bassett, and Linda Evans. It was obvious that no matter how famous Michael had become in his heart, he was just another starstruck fan, judging from the expression on his face. His success didn't diminish his awe, but it did allow him to observe his idols up close. In return, the celebs fell all over themselves for a chance to meet Michael, a guy who had made only one movie and that one a flop. Michael never strayed from Liz's side, wearing one of his blue glitter military outfits, dark aviary shades, and the requisite rhinestone glove. Michael looked around the room and probably couldn't help notice that everyone was gawking at him. For her part, Liza strolled about proudly with Michael in her arm, as if to say, Yes, I'm with Michael Jackson. What do you think of that? Let me have a scotch and Coca Cola, Liza instructed the waiter, and Mr. Jackson will have the same. Oh no, Michael protested. I'll have, he hesitated. I'll have an oranges, please. Of course you will, Liza said, and so will I, with scotch. She laughed merrily. The waiter walked away. Yoo-hoo, Michael meekly called for him. No scotch in mine. Joan Collins sauntered over to the couple. Michael, my dear boy, how truly wonderful to see you. She embraced him warmly and winked at Lisa as if to share a joke with her. Michael looked confused. Quick, stand right next to him. Let's get a picture. A woman shoved her husband next to Michael. This is for our daughter, Natasha, the man sheepishly explained. Michael, who had no debut, no doubt, heard a similar line 1,000 times before, nodded patiently. Oh, by the way, my name is Michael Caine, said the actor after the photo was taken. The two shook hands as Kane's wife, Shakira, snapped another picture of them. Joan Collins turned to her friend. Yo, I must get the name of his plastic surgeon, she said. I simply adore his nose, don't you? Johnny Carson, see with his girlfriend, Alexis Mass, took in the scent and walked over to Michael just as his orange juice was being served to him. Nice to see you, Michael, Carson said with a firm handshake. Michael seemed dazed. Gee, nice to see you too again, Mr. Carson. Call me John. Okay, call me Mike. Liza Minnelli grabbed Michael's hand. Now look, Johnny, here's my day, she told Carson with a big smile. Wow, what a nice guy that Johnny Carson is. Michael was overheard as Lisa dragged him away. Oh yes, he's a dear, she agreed. Now we're going to call my father. We are? Liza then led Michael off to a payphone. After Liza dialed the number, she began doing a soft shoot dance routine and started singing. Forget your troubles, come on, get happy, she sang. She was feeling good. Michael laughed. I love being around you, you know that? She told her. Shh, Liza said. Her father answered the phone. Hey, listen, I want you to meet Michael Jackson. Who? Was apparently the question back to her. Why, he's a wonderful singer and one of my best friends, she explained. Now just say hello. A pause. Oh, hey, just say hello. Now, come on. She handed the phone to Michael. No, I can't, Michael protested, his hands over the mouthpiece. Oh, but you must, Lizzie insisted. But he's my idol. Michael had always enjoyed director Lucinda Manila's films. Well, then say hello. Lizzie punched him in the arm pitifully. He doesn't bite. Michael took his hand off the mouthpiece. Hello, Manelli, he whispered. He listened for 5 seconds. His eyes darted left and right. Excuse me. With a giggle, he handed the phone back to Lizzie. God, he's so nice. Michael gushed. Lisa got back on the phone. Now listen, Daddy, put on your velvet jacket. We'll be over in 20 minutes. Pause. Yes, I'm bringing him over there. I know. A pause. Never mind what he's wearing. Another pause. Okay. He's wearing one single glove, alright? Are you satisfied? Michael doubled over laughing. Okay then, fine. Goodbye. As Lisa and Michael pushed through the crowd and out of the door to the waiting limousine, Jimmy Stewart was overheard saying, well, there they go. Dorothy's little girl and the Wiz. Almost 20 years later, the Wiz will be part of the Wednesday party when Dorothy's little girl married for a fourth time in New York. Michael was best man and Elizabeth Taylor, the March of Honor, when in March 2002. Lizzo with David Guest and well-publicized star-studded extravaganza. Unfortunately, the union went in after 16 tumultuous months.